Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutayambi Sangham saranam gacchami, Tatayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tatayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Tatayambi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata gati gati parasamgati bodhi soha. Tayata gati parasamgati bodhi soha. Tayata gati parasamgati bodhi soha. Yes, so I just remind everyone, make sure that you're muted and don't try to unmute yourself, otherwise it messes with the video and the audio. So you keep an eye on that, Leanne, would be great. Thank you. And let's do the meditation now. So get yourself comfy. Nice upright position, unless of course you have a bad back and you can lean on the chair if you like. But generally we would like our body posture to be what we want our mind to be. Nice and upright. Upright, virtuous, stable, and flexible. Now bring your mind to your body and let's release the tension from the body. So closing your eyes, lips gently touching, tongue resting on the upper palate above your top teeth in your mouth. And nice and calm. Release the tension from the bottom of your body, from the toes up to your midsection. And also from your upper body, from your midsection to your shoulders to the ends of your fingers. And also from all around your head, the back, sides, and your face, and finally the top of your head. And now scan your body again just to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And when you've done this, bring your mind to your breathing. We're practicing anapanasati, mindfulness of the breath as you breathe in and out. Breathe all the way into your lungs, and then out through your nose. And focus on the feeling of the breath as you do this. If any thoughts or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it, grasp at it, try to push it away or deny it. By refocusing on your breath, let it come and go naturally. And if your mind starts to become sleepy or dull, wake it up a little bit by focusing more brightly on your breath. This way, refocusing on your breath is the antidote for both the agitated mind, the overly busy mind, as well as the dull mind. So now let's practice like this for a few minutes in silence. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself for engaging in this practice. Maintaining a meditative mind. Now we will switch to loving kindness meditation. So feel yourself with universal loving kindness. You can just focus on this feeling, which is of utmost importance in this practice, as well as you can use some visualization, like your body filling with white light, or white nectar, if you like. And then as we will radiate in a moment out further and further, and you can visualize this white light going out to these different beings, different places, and filling them with loving kindness as well. Or like I said, a white nectar as well can be used. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness now that it overflows outwards and radiates initially to your loved ones and friends. And also to strangers. And even to those that you may find difficult, may even regard as enemies. And may all these people be free from suffering. May they be happy and at peace. Now extend further and further to now include all of the living beings around your immediate area. And throughout your state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. And all other worlds throughout this solar system. Further and further. It's almost now like the loving kindness that you're radiating outwards has got so much momentum. Now it fills the whole galaxy and other galaxies throughout the whole universe. And throughout infinite space, this loving kindness that originates in your mind now fills infinite space. And at the same time, be present here and now, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And so it reminds you, if you want more detailed meditation practice, or instruction, I should say, then within the last month, I've been reposting previous classes all the way back to August, the start of August last year. And the ones that, I don't remember the number, but the dates, the 2nd of January, the repost, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That's got a lot of details for the meditation practice. And if you engage in the practice of mantras as well, then January the 16th class, there's a fair bit of detail instruction about mantras. Okay, so now I will answer some more questions that came in. And just remind you, the next subject is the 6 paramitas, and we will get onto that most likely next week, I'd say, unless another question comes or a few questions come, and then I will answer that. But definitely within 2 weeks, we'll start the 6 paramita teachings. Okay, the 6 transcendental perfections. Okay, so the first question that came in was something like, is it possible to replace unwholesome visualizations with wholesome visualizations? What I gather you mean by that is images in your mind. You're having some sort of negative or scary or some sort of dark images in your mind. And how do you replace that? Or can you, first of all, replace that with wholesome? The answer to that is yes, of course. It's your mind that is habitually reacting to certain stimuli or certain memories, maybe, is the reason for the unwholesome or the dark images or thoughts in your mind. And because they originate in your mind, that means with the mind, we can purify them. Initially by replacing them with wholesome images in the mind, and eventually to go beyond all of that, to have a really clear mind, not attached to this, not having aversion to that, and not having so much concerns. We have these habitual tendencies, as we spoke about a lot in the commentaries on the five skandhas, sorry. Okay, so once again, these are being reposted as we speak. What I've done is last week, I think I posted 2 of the previous classes to do with these commentaries on the 5 skandhas or 5 aggregates. And I'll continue to do so into the future. Okay, so you can revisit those ones for a little bit more detail on the habitual tendencies that we have, the mental reactions that we have because of our habits that have been reinforced over and over and over, moment to moment from the past, as well as previous lifetimes even, okay? So think about the mind now. We are always having some sort of image in the mind, even if the image is an image of, you could say, emptiness, or the emptiness of emptiness even. There is still some sort of image. We're a sentient being. We have these mental activities. We always have these images in our mind. We also have mental chatter. Now, this doesn't just mean, thought, or word, but actually means that we're always associating something, identifying something. We're always giving something an identity or conceptualizing something, because our mind at the moment is dualistic. It's this way or it's that way. Okay, it's for or it's against, and so forth. And then we're also having mental feelings, either pleasurable, unpleasant, or neutral. Once again, you can revisit the classes on the 5 skandhas for more detail on that. Then also we have beliefs. We always have belief. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, there are what we call religions in the world, different types. They have different types of beliefs. And even within the religions themselves, because of people being different and sometimes interpreting the teachings or interpreting the teachings differently, they also have different beliefs within them. And it's the same with us Buddhist practitioners. We're all different, so we understand the teachings on different levels, as well as differently sometimes, because we're not perfect yet. We haven't totally understood them. We don't have the direct understanding yet. So we have all of these different beliefs. Even people that say, I don't believe that, that's a belief. Think about it. Not believing is also a belief. So we have these 4 conditions in the mind all the time. We have the mental images, the mental chatter, the feelings or mental sensations, and the beliefs. Now, if we replace unwholesome or negative images, chatter, feelings, and belief with the positive or wholesome, then these also can be known as the 4 healing powers of mind. So we actually can heal our mind by replacing the unwholesome with the wholesome. So let's say, for instance, you're having, or I should add this, my answer was to give some instruction on what to replace the dark or unwholesome visualizations or mental images with. And so I mentioned an image of the Buddha, for instance, an attractive image of the Buddha, and then to close your eyes, if you like, and visualize the Buddha either in front of you, sort of up here like that, life size or even bigger, or on top of your head or at your heart center, and visualize that you are receiving the blessings from the Buddhas, the enlightened beings, which of course these blessings originate in your own mind, don't they? You must create these blessings yourself. Okay, so I think that's one really good one. So if you have your favorite image of the Buddha, it may be a statue, or it may be a tanka, like the one I have over here, even though you can't see it very clearly. This is a tanka of Amitabha Buddha in the Tibetan tradition, the version. So you can visualize that, or even your teachers, because if you have a close connection with your teacher, maybe if you visualize or think about your teacher, then this makes your mind more positive or more calm at that time. So you can utilize these techniques to do that. You can also utilize your verbal abilities and chant some mantras or chant some verses from sutras or prayers like we do at the beginning of the class. And the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Think about that. So you do it, even if you have to make such strong effort right now, then actually the more you do that, day after day after day, the more it starts to become natural to do so. Because you have the ability to do this. Like I said before, these unwholesome images or whatever in your mind, they actually originate in your mind. So you can purify that. You can change them. And sometimes we have to do it over and over and over in the beginning. And like I said, it becomes more natural to do so. So mental images, chatter, feelings, beliefs, these always are active in our mind. There's not a moment that goes by without these four being active. Think about your beliefs. Let's say you believe in the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha's teachings, the Eightfold Path, and putting that into practice. That's good belief. But if you believe that you don't have the ability to practice this, then this is unwholesome, an unhelpful belief. Okay, so try your best with your beliefs to have them positive, that lead you in the direction that you want to go into, on the path to enlightenment, or at the beginning, at the path to happiness, to realizing more of a sustained happiness. Okay. Next, body, speech, and mind. Okay, it's important that we reflect on what we are thinking with our mind and our attitudes, what type of states of mind we have. And once again, you can look at previous classes for more detail on this. We spoke about the 51 derivative mental factors, the wholesome, the unwholesome, and so forth. So it's good to maintain this wholesome state of mind. Make that great effort to do so. The wholesome states of mind that are conducive to bringing happiness and conducive on the path to enlightenment. And eradicate, if ever the unwholesome states of mind arise, eradicate them, okay? And also our speech. It's really important that we regulate our speech, that what comes out of our mouth is actually skillful and helpful and doesn't lead to more habit of being negative or having unwholesome speech. Because if we use our speech in an unwholesome way, this leaves an imprint on the mind. So the mind will follow everything that we experience, including our speech, to use this example, as well as anything, even something that say an insect flies past your head right now. Your consciousness is aware of this, even if you're not totally aware you could say the outside, the consciousness, the gross consciousness, but deep down it leaves an imprint on your mind, on your consciousness. Okay, and so it's best, obviously, to leave positive imprints or wholesome imprints. This is helpful. This is really beneficial, and it also protects the mind from the unwholesomeness at that time. And also, it's related here is to our physical actions. So let's do our best to only engage in physical actions that, first of all, that are harmless, and then, of course, even more than that, beneficial, really helpful to ourselves and others. The more that we think that we or want to be beneficial to others, the more it takes our mind off our self-centeredness, doesn't it? This is one of the techniques practiced in the Dharma. The more you are selfless, obviously, the less you are selfish, for instance. The more you are generous, the less you are greedy. The more you are loving, kind, and compassionate, the less you have hatred in your mind, or dislike, or even anger. You know, the more that we have what we call positive moral shame, the less we will be shameless or engage in shameful activities. The more we have a positive fear of unwholesomeness. This is a healthy fear now. Really have a fear of being unwholesome. The less it is that we're going to be unwholesome, the more it is we'll be wholesome. Okay, so I wanted to explain that a little bit, not in great detail, but a little bit related to our body, our physical actions, physicality, as well as all the physical things we come into contact with, and also our speech. You could say this is our how we communicate with the outside world, and also our personal world, which is our mind, isn't it? Okay, so I've already said replace the wholesome or the unwholesome with the wholesome. Another query came in about practicing, any of the Buddhist traditions, and my answer basically was, it's up to you what you practice, and you are free. You are free to make choices in the Dharma. Okay, it's really important that you have teachers or teacher to check things with, which you do, which I'm really, really happy about. And you can be happy about this as well. And, just to clarify things. Also, you have the Buddhist teachings recorded in the Tripitaka, in the 3 collections of the Buddhist teachings, in the Vinaya, or the related mainly to the rules of conduct and morality. You have the sutras, the recorded discourses of the Buddha and also his major disciples. And then, of course, you have the Abhidhamma, which is the investigation and the analysis of the Buddhist teachings. So you could say Buddhist psychology and philosophy. So you have these, you can check with these too. So maybe the sutras you should check, every now and then if you're having doubts. Just have a look at them. If, for instance, if you're practicing in one of the traditions only, then I think it's actually good to check the scriptures, the sutras from other traditions. Let's say, for instance, you're practicing in Theravada. Then you should check the Mahayana scriptures. Maybe even check the Vajrayana tantras, You should, these are all teachings of the Buddha. And there's different, he uses different expressions, different ways of expressing these teachings, whether it's definitive teachings or whether it's interpretable teachings, depending on the audience that he was speaking to, depending on the questions he may have got. And so there's different levels of teachings as well. You can thoroughly check this for yourself. You have the ability to do this, and you have the freedom to do this. In practicing the Dharma, yes, we have rules of conduct and all of these ways to regulate our body, our speech, and especially the mind. But we also have the freedom to do this as well. And so Theravada tradition, Thera means elder, Vada means school. Okay, so this is the school of the elders. This goes back to the initial teachings that the Buddha started to give. Then we have the Mahayana. Maha means great, Yana means vehicle. Okay, then we have Vajrayana, which means Vajra means diamond, like adamantine, and Yana once again meaning vehicle. So you have these teachings. Unfortunately, I think sometimes as human beings grasp hold of the tradition that we're involved in and say, this is the one, this is the best one. I have to practice this. Maybe Theravada practitioners sometimes will say, no, that's the other one's extensions of the Buddhist teachings. We need to get to the core. And if that works for you, that's great. The Mahayana practitioners may, unfortunately, sometimes think it's better, greater vehicle, and that the Theravada teachings are very basic. But actually, the Buddhist teachings, like I said before, they are all teachings of the Buddha, and the Buddhist teachings, it depends really on your perception of them, what level they're at as such. The Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, they cover everything. but not in so much detail. And so maybe it's good if you have a look at if you're practicing Theravada, which mainly I think you are, then you have a look at the Mahayana teachings. And the same with the Mahayana practitioners, you really need to check the Theravada teachings, the basis, this is a good foundation as well for your practice. We need to be really careful that we don't grasp hold of it. Like, in other words, what I call you're letting go of worldly attachment, but now you have Dharma attachment. So you're attaching to these teachings. It's like let's say, to give a common teaching within the Dharma, let's say you want to know where the moon is, and I say the moon is that way, and then you're grasping hold of my finger, and you don't look where the finger's pointing. In other words, you're not putting the teachings into practice to realize the truth for yourself in that way. You're grasping hold. Years ago, somebody said to me, the Buddha's words are the ultimate truth. And I said, how can the Buddha's words be the ultimate truth? How can any words be the ultimate truth? They are pointing to the ultimate truth. So you must follow these words, follow the meaning of these words, put them into practice, then you will realize the ultimate truth. But the words in themselves are not the ultimate truth. How can they be? Because they're built on concepts, conceptual thinking, dualistic thinking. So try to go beyond that, but utilize them, okay? The Dharma is so important, especially in this crazy world that is sometimes crazy, isn't it? So we really need something as clear, like a finger, as direct as the Dharma, so that we can go beyond all of our conceptual ideas. What else can be said? Buddhism and science, yes. We should check science too. It appears to me that the sciences, the more advanced they become, the more they start to align more and more with the Dharma. That was Albert Einstein. Said many things about Buddhism. In fact, he said that science is becoming closer towards Buddhism as we find it out, but could never realize the ultimate, the profound meanings within the teachings of the Buddha, because the Buddha's teachings relate to mind, and science could never know the mind fully just by studying science, for instance. But science is very helpful, especially in modern times. We have the meta sciences, the metaphysics and so forth, and so breaking down all of this, the physicality of things, or breaking down the constituents within this physicality, for instance, and getting down to the minute particles. The Buddha taught this stuff. And so you can compare the teachings with modern science, but don't just grasp onto modern science. I think Albert Einstein actually said, science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. And of course, within the Dharma, we have the science already. So it's there already, isn't it? Because actually a good Buddhist practitioner should be like a great scientist, investigate, analyze, come up with some sort of hypothesis, and then have some sort of theory, and then work your way beyond all of that to create a direct understanding. Okay, in science, the hypothesis is coming up with some idea of how things, whatever it is we're investigating, how it is. And then, of course, you go beyond that, and it doesn't become a scientific theory, I believe, until you can't prove it wrong. Okay, and so in Buddhism, we're like that in our practice, isn't it? In our analytical practice and our investigative practice. Before we believe something, we must investigate thoroughly and analyze thoroughly to know if it's true or not. And I think maybe that'll cover that bit. We've got about 4 minutes to go, so we've done very well today. Once again, I invite you, if you really, really want to go back to what we were doing before and having more detailed meditation instruction, I'm very happy to do so. But at the moment, we just have those few extra minutes, maybe an extra 5 minutes for the Dharma discussion. And I think we're all enjoying that. Go like that if you are enjoying that. Good. And so Well, the last little note I left myself is up to us, but I've already covered that, isn't it? Or haven't I should say. So we've covered, it's up to us. We have the freedom to practice. We have the freedom to practice what it is we want. We shouldn't be shackled, by cultural pressures or some sort of cultural habits, got to do things this way or that way. And that's any culture now I'm talking about. We need to train our mind to be wholesome. To do this, we have to utilize the freedom that we have to put the Buddhist teachings into practice, okay? To replace the unwholesome with the wholesome. Once again, we go back to those 4 great efforts, isn't it? The 6th aspect of the Eightfold Path. If you have unwholesome thoughts arise in your mind, already arisen in your mind, you eradicate them. You protect your mind from having any new ones arise. If you have wholesome thoughts in your mind, then you protect them, you keep them. And if you don't have wholesome thoughts in your mind, then you adopt them. Sounds so simple, but to consistently practice like this, you have to consistently practice like this. So excuse me using those words, but it's so simple like that. But we have to be consistent, we have to be constant in the practice, and we have to, once again, goes back actually to the initial teachings I started giving when we started recording these classes on the 1st of August last year. And that is, we have to check our intentions first. We have to have a purpose of why it is, we know the purpose of why it is we're practicing. Then we have to thoroughly get to understand the methods that we need to practice. Okay? And then we need to practice. If we get the purpose and the methods, and then we don't practice, it's like, you want to do something, but you end up sitting on your butt on the couch all day. You never get it done. But we don't want that, obviously. I was going to tell a couple of stories, but I think maybe I'll get cut off in between. I'll try to remember to do them next week. Just some stories that are, common folk stories from different cultures over the years. They get adapted, to different cultures, but I've also done some writing on them, expanded upon them and the meaning. And the first one is, related to respecting each other and especially respecting elders, people that have, taught you things, been kind to you so much. And then, of course, other ones that we don't even know. And the other one is related to being happy with yourself now, and not always chasing after material things, after, trying to satisfy all of the senses, by grasping at sense objects all the time. So I know that we've probably got about 20 seconds to go. So make sure that you practice really well and be kind to yourself, as I say often. Be kind to others. Maintain a really calm mind, stable, upright mind, flexible mind, so that you can